I want to thank everybody for having me on the call. I love this, Moselle. Thank you for keeping this up. Life is, you know, being part of the raw food community for so many decades. And I don't need to tell my story because I don't have the time. But if you would like to go to my website, which is livingsimpliraw.com, or ageless-energy.com, you can read my story. There's recipes, there's lectures, there's all kinds of things. But my life was changed very, very deeply. It was profound for me in 1980. And once I went to Hippocrates, and I want to just point to about consciousness and about water. And when you experience this, and keep remembering this is a step-by-step process, okay? But one of my major experiences I had when I went to Hippocrates, and you can achieve this. It's a step-by-step process. You don't have to go to a health center to do it, or a raw food center. We can make this happen with all the support that we have, especially in this community. But one of the main things I noticed, and it was very emotional for me, talking about how much of our body is water. Okay. Well, once we purify the body at a certain level where we are, all the water in our body that surrounds our cells as pure as we can get it, and that can happen at certain levels on and off, your consciousness rises because of that. You know, Moses fasted for 40 days. His consciousness was even higher. So your consciousness rises. And for me personally, it was the first time in my life, and it was very emotional, where I began to feel the presence of God so deep in me, and that he actually loved me. And it was because, and I felt so much more connected to God because my consciousness was so much higher, and the vibration of the fluids in our body, the more pure we become, the higher our vibration is. So there's so many reasons. It does reverse the aging process, and I think being an example to our family and our loved ones. I have 7 grandchildren, 4 great grandchildren, 2 more on the way, and I need to tell you, all of my children, all of my grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren, the way they're being raised, are healthy. And I do believe wellness is a conscious choice. So you're going to continue to learn as you're doing on this amazing, on the amazing programs that Moselle has put together, and how well you guys are presenting. So every one of us are on our own journey. We're either moving towards regeneration and rejuvenation of cells in the body, or we're moving towards degeneration and disease. So each one of you are on your own journey. I'm going to be able to tie in a lot of this with the speakers, several of the speakers that spoke tonight. So it's very exciting. And I shortened it so that I'll have time to do that and maybe take questions. But there's chemicals all around. We know there is. And that's something that there's many chemicals that are in our life and surround us that we can control. But one of the things when you're reading ingredients, I could go forever on this, and this is important. I've been in practice for 43 years, and this is how I work with my clients as well. The flavor, I said, I think last time when I was on, it was quite a while ago, we were talking about chemicals in food. Okay. So when you're reading labels, when you start to look at the ingredients, try to find products that don't have any flavor enhancers, preservatives, colorants. Those are very, very dense chemicals that make those flavors. Just we need to look at what goes into the body. We can control what we drink. She just talked about that. It's very important. The air pollution, it depends. You know, most of us, we need air purifiers in our homes. But most of you, I can tell, and some of this will be redundant, are really walking a healthy lifestyle. And this group is touching many, many people. But flavor enhancers, preservatives, and colorants are extremely toxic, and you can control that. So by reading labels, the more ingredients that you don't understand, the more chemicals there are. So that's really important to do that. I know many of you have probably have been reading labels for a long time, because some of you are really seasoned in this program. And if you take a look at this particular slide, we're constantly bombarded. And one of the things that even I think it's important to understand, as chemicals enter the body, and we're going to talk about how to get them out and how to support the system to not go through all of the hard, difficult times to release poisons and toxins. But they do accumulate. And number one, they accumulate more densely in children. Our children's organs are smaller and they are affected more by poisons and toxins. So read all the labels for your children, for your babies, everything. If you get to just keep reminding yourself it's a step-by-step process, because you will reach the end. So body purification is essential to creating optimal health and rejuvenation. We have the ability to address the needs of the entire cell. So purification through detoxification can be simple, easy, and exciting. And it doesn't have to be complex. You simply need to know and understand that it's a step-by-step process. And actually, everybody, some of you have already arrived here. The results are astounding, fulfilling, and life-changing. And I do mean that. And I watch it all the time in my client base and when I do workshops and retreats. I had a woman come to me from Chicago. Actually, Karen Calabresi sent it to me. And she was here for a 5-day one-on-one personal retreat. And the fulfillment that I received from watching her life change. The before and after pictures are amazing. Her mind, her body, her spirit. It was incredible. So let's talk a little bit about eliminating chemicals. All right. So the immune system has the ability to target and identify and tag and destroy parasites and bacteria, malignant cells, funguses, viruses. And it has to be able to understand and see and communicate. There's such thing called a cell communication, so it can work properly. We'll probably do a class on that at another time, but the more pure your body, the more the body's going to be able to do this. So the needs of the entire cell must be addressed. So cells have to be identified. That's cell communication. They have to be regulated by phytosterols. They have to be able to defend themselves, which is usually antioxidants. Phytonutrients help repair the cells. We nourish with vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. And we have to cleanse. And we're going to be talking about that more and more. All right. So toxins affect cell communication. Our cells need to communicate to protect the body from having poisons and toxins enter the cells. All right. So we have a defense cell. Your cells regenerate 2 million a minute. 3 billion a day, and your red blood cells are changed every 120 days. You have the ability to affect how your body rebuilds cells and how healthy they are. Okay? Next. So how healthy are your cells? So oxygen, stress, toxins, drugs, bacteria, they all affect our cells. I want you to think about cells and purifying your cells. And before we go on the next one, we have our cells, and we have the DNA. We have the ability to even change our body to the point that we can grow our telomeres. We know that. We know we can grow telomeres. They don't constantly have to be depleted and get shorter and aged. We know that now. And this is part of the process. This is actually a process of cell communication. This is actually a defense cell reaching out to grab a bacteria and destroy it. This happens in our bodies every day. So that part of detoxification, and is that fact that we don't want our bodies to have to work that hard. So we've got to help with this process. All right, let's first talk about the liver. The liver has many jobs to do, a lot. It helps clean the body of harmful chemicals. All right. It actually, you guys know that liver has a bile. The bile in the liver helps to break down fat from food, but it also stores sugar in a form of glucose, which gives you energy. But the liver is a filtering system, and it stores poisons and toxins. So the least amount of poisons and toxins that have to filter through the body, through the colon, through the portal vein into the liver, because the liver actually helps the body to detoxify by filtering out the poisons and toxins before they go to the body. There's a body's physiological response when it's trying to break down a toxin. The liver has to work harder at night when it should be resting. And resting is when we rejuvenate. That's how our body heals. We regenerate when we're sleeping and resting. So this can also lead to stress state from which you'll be awake, and you can be awake really easy. So it's important that we help the body by getting rid of poisons and toxins and not allowing them to come in. So throughout the night, the liver uses a high proportion of the body's energy, much higher than usual, and the brain is starved of its usual resources. So that's one of the reasons we wake up tired. If you do wake up tired, there's many reasons, and a lot of that, of course, is in many, many classes. If you go to the website and listen to some of my lectures, you're going to learn a lot. All right, so let's talk about this. This was something that I really want to talk about, because this is something you can take care of yourself. We do a detox day here, and we do a detox weekend, and so we have a lot going on. But what we do is we work with supporting the filtering and eliminative systems of the body. The filtering systems are your liver and your lymphatic system. And I want to speak about the liver. I spoke about one thing is, and I think I sent to one of the last classes, and I'll make sure I get it to Katrina or Moselle, a liver flush sheet, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But your lymphatic system is a blood circulatory system that is twice as large as your blood circulatory system. If you were to stand in front of a mirror and all you could see was your lymphatic system, you would see your body would still be shaped the same, even all the way out to the points of your fingers. That's how large your lymphatic system is. So it's a circulatory system, and it's not moved by the heart like the blood is. It's moved by breathing. So many of you have seen the mini trampolines. Many of you have heard of skin brushing. Well, one of the things that's really important to help your lymphatic system, and you don't have to get $100, $200, even a $75 mini trampoline. There's really nice ones at Walmart's and different Myers and some of the sporting goods stores for $50. And when you're looking for a rebounder, which most of you probably have them, when you're looking for a rebounder trampoline, they're usually 36 to 42 inches round. Some of them are 48, but they need to have 6 legs, and they can't be soft. That will hurt it's not good for your spine. And you don't run on a mini trampoline. You gently bounce. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. But while you're doing that, you take a deep breath in through your nose, or even a slow breath, as long as you're breathing, because what moves your lymphatic fluids is your breath. It moves from your outer extremities up and back down again, from your feet up and then back down again, from the end of your arms up and back. And that's what happens when you breathe. And most of us, we don't pay attention to our breathing. All right. And that's extremely important. In fact, when we're stressed or anxious, we hold our breath. And that's when you really should be breathing. So you learned some great breathing exercises today. But when you're breathing for the lymphatic system, even if you're not on a trampoline, take time outside to take breaths in and out, slow in and out, slow in and out while you're walking. It will help move your lymphatic system. And when it's moving the lymphatic flow, the lymphatic system is moving through the lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are thousands and thousands in our body. They're accumulated in heavier areas where our head meets our neck, where our groin meets our body, in the colon. And when your lymph is swollen, that means the lymph nodes need to be cleansed. and they're like a sponge. And so when you're cleaning, the process behind moving the lymphatic and bouncing is when you're bouncing on the rebounder, gently bouncing 20 minutes a day. It's like jogging for an hour. What happens is it's pulling the lymphatic through the lymph nodes, and the lymph nodes act like little ping pong balls in your body, and they're bouncing up and down, and then they dump and cleanse and go into the lymphatic circulation system, which goes into the hepatic part of the colon and is released through the colon. So if you can get in a habit of rebounding, and you can pick these up at garage sales for like $10. I have about 4 or 5 of them here. So I get them, I've gotten them at Salvation Army. But they last forever. I have some that I've had here for 20 years. I've only paid $50 for. So it's a great investment. And another thing, I want to go a little bit back to the liver. The liver needs to be cleansed. And if you take a liver where people eat the standard American diet and toxic foods and fat, that liver eventually becomes clogged. It's also like a sponge, and it can't filter. It's like putting a sponge in a vat of oil or something. So the liver flushes are important. It's a good, delicious liver flush. You can even use it for a dressing. I know we have it. I'll send it back out at the end of this. So those, and every time I'm teaching this, and some of you are probably doing a lot of this already, and I'm sure Amy probably is because she's come to a couple of my all-day detoxes. But the skin, let's talk about the filtering system. And let me talk about the eliminative system, but I want to say something and address what one of the young women said that was going through one of the books, Cleansing Crisis, Healing Crisis. That only happens depending on how toxic your body is and how efficient you are at supporting the filtering systems and the eliminative systems in your body, because you will have probably one or all of those negative results if your body is cleansing and throwing poisons and toxins into the bloodstream, but they can't leave the body. They're reabsorbed. So that's when you could start to have headaches and eruptions and all the different things. So the filtering system has to be supported. The eliminative system has to be supported. Skin is your largest organ on your body. Dry skin brushing every day only takes about 3 minutes a day. It's fun, it's exhilarating, and dry skin brushing also helps the skin bring natural lanolin to the surface. It thickens the skin, so when you get older, you don't have that real thin skin. It brings natural hormone. It stimulates hormone production, and it opens up the pores so poisons and toxins can come out. And if you haven't been sweating, you might start sweating again. So dry skin brushing is definitely important, and it doesn't take that long. And as I go through this, remember, it's a step-by-step process, and you incorporate what you want when you feel ready for the next step. But the results are so wonderful that it really motivates people to keep going, because creating vibrant health and achieving vibrant health and living in a healthy body, it's amazing, especially when you get older. I'm 81. I know a lot of us are older. I don't feel like it. I don't look like it. It's more important about how we feel, okay? And with the wisdom that comes with age, it's so nice to feel so good. Lungs, there are different types of lung flushes, but breathing helps cleanse the lungs. So I would encourage you to do breathing exercises. When we do detoxes here, we have breathing exercises, the whole thing. They have to do everything every day they're here, all day. So breathing is really important for cleansing the lungs. And the young lady that went through the breathing, that's what we use, but use a little deeper breaths and do at least 10 times a day. Kidneys, well, we talked, one of the worst things for kidneys is poisons, toxins. Soda is really bad for kidneys. High blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, you need to work with the high blood pressure, because that can cause that causes a lot of problems. And a lot of people are walking around with high blood pressure that think it's okay. Well, it makes you exhausted. It makes you tired. It affects your kidneys. So I'm not going into a Grey's Anatomy class or anything like that, but drinking the water is important. Now, ionized water is great. So I think that's important too. We're going to talk a little bit more about water in another slide. So let's talk about the colon. I am a colon hydrotherapist. I am a naturopath. I am a nutritionist, and I've been in practice for 43 years. I love what I do, and to be able to be such an intimate part of people's lives it's a blessing and I'm so grateful. But let's talk a little bit about the colon. Colon is, because most of you, more than likely, there's many, many reasons for not eating meat, and I'm going to touch on some of these, okay? Eating meat takes a long time to move through the digestive tract. And if you were to put a piece of meat on the counter in your kitchen, especially in the summer, okay, think about it, your body's over 98 degrees, and when you put a slab of meat on the counter, I don't care if it's beef or pork, it takes longer to happen if it's chicken, but the beef and pork will start to rot, and it will smell and it'll turn black. I'm not one to tell people to not eat meat, because you have to do what's good for you and what you can do. But people have to make their own choices. But when you become educated, it's easier to make those choices, because when you start to feel like you're a kid, and you will, and some of you probably arrived there already with what's going on with this support system you have here. So we don't want, one of the things that happens in the colon, and that's a whole class on its own, is that putrefact matter grows on the colon wall. It causes a more acidic environment. It causes the bad and good bacteria balance to be almost all bad, hard places for the good bacteria to implement. When you're dealing with leaky gut, which is caused by impactation on the colon wall and an acidic colon, what that does is microscopic perforations develop, which allows food particles to go into the blood. They're not supposed to be there. Causes pain, causes inflammation and pain, a lot. So if you're going to reverse that, you're going to need to change your diet. And if you're going to be doing any digestive enzymes, a systemic enzyme that you eat, there's certain enzymes that are developed that can be digestive enzymes and systemic enzymes. I happen to have a line of digestive enzymes, a colon cleanse, and a detox product, and a raw juice product. But digestive enzymes, and Victoria Klavinskas helped me develop this, that are designed to be proteolytic enzymes without food and digest food with food, are very efficient. And how you address the food particles in the blood is to use a proteolytic enzyme, because they will digest the proteins in the blood. How you address it from the inside of the colon is keeping your colon clean, making sure you're having good eliminations. I mean, I'm totally, if some of you are still eating cheese, try to get yourself to the point to get off of it. It'll happen. And the reason you'll stay that way is because if you get off cheese and then you start eating again, you're not going to like how you feel. Causes mucus in the body, slows down the movements of the cells. It's very difficult to digest. And that buildup on the colon wall is caused by white flour, mucus, and meat. And they layer themselves. When I was a kid, I made paste with white flour and water. And you know that casein from cow's milk is made, that's part of the ingredients they make carpenter's glue. So just keep that in mind. I think education helps you every time you put something in your body, that you need to know that. So colon health is extremely important. Eating raw and living foods, and the difference between a raw food and a living food is a living food is made from sprouted seed, nuts, or grains. They're 300% more nutritious. Right now, I just made a sunflower pumpkin seed cheese going. I have soaked and sprouted buckwheat groats done. It doesn't take long. It just doesn't. Once you're in the habit of it, it doesn't take long. It's so easy and so much easier to clean up. So raw foods are great. I'm not putting that down. But if you can start incorporating living foods into that, it's just amazing. So we talked about the colon. I could talk about the colon forever. You should be having a couple of eliminations a day at least. That's going to depend on what you put in your body. So it's best to eat very light your evening meal because your metabolism and digestion slows down more. All right, let's talk about this. Let's support detox. There's many ways to support the detoxification process. Digestion is the most important. Colon health is the second important. So digestion. Chew your food till it's liquid. When at Creative Health or Hippocrates, wherever I taught, when you chew and when you're at a dinner with people, this raw food dinner, like Cricket does out in Lansing, people don't talk when they're eating because you have to chew so much. And when you're chewing, your saliva is getting mixed in with your food, and that actually, because your enzymes are filled with, your saliva is filled with enzymes. That's the first step of digestion. And do you know that there's never been, when I've been in practice a long time, and about 15, and I never saw pancreatic cancer till about 15 years ago. Do you know the majority of people eat almost all cooked foods? Dairy, meat, potatoes, all of it. They eat it all. But what happens to the body is the pancreas is your main organ for releasing enzymes into the stomach when food goes into your stomach. The enzymes, the body has the ability to take your metabolic enzymes, which run your immune system, okay, to take from your metabolic enzyme bank and turn them into digestive enzymes, only if the body needs them. It's just, you don't want to do that. And you don't want to wear out your pancreas to keep continuing. That's why there's so many, one of the reasons there's so many problems with pancreas now. People just don't, they're eating almost all cooked food. So digestive enzymes are important. Chewing your food well is important. Getting off of meat, getting off of dairy, very important. White flour, very important. Colon health, I can't say enough. As you change your diet, that will improve. I know that many of you have ordered my colon product. I developed a product that I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of it after 43 years of experience, and it's been out 2 years, and it's wonderful. So anyway, massage. Massage is a very good way to release poisons and toxins from the body. A very good way. It's important to, if you can get massage, if not, take your hands and work on your limbs and, like squeeze your arms with your hands all the way up. Just give it a workout yourself if you can. I actually barter with my massage therapist. So it's so important if you can do that. Dry skin brushing. We talked about that. It's very important. It doesn't take long. Learn how to do it. I can actually send a sheet out to learn how to do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do it tonight. It's been a long day. Get on a good detox program. There's several of them. And one of the things when you're on a detox program, which maybe you want to just do raw juice for 3 days, okay? Maybe you want to do just try energy soup for 3 days. Energy soup is mind-blowing. It's incredible. Dr. Ann developed that when she was working in Boston, when she was working with people with AIDS, and she never got off of it. It's powerful, and it's delicious. I can send that recipe out. It's quick and easy, and I make it every day. It's nothing to it, and I add almond cream to it. And that's simple. It makes an actual gourmet food. And when the woman that was here, she's 65, when she was here for her personal program, my assistant was making and teaching her how to make energy soup. And she said, I'll just have a little. And as soon as she took 1 teaspoon, she said, fill up my bowl. I want more. So, and it's amazing because it's basically apples or pears, greens, avocado, dulse, and water. Sweet apples make it sweeter. And it's powerful. Again, colon health, liver flushes. I would suggest you do a liver flush, at twice a month at least. It's delicious. You'll like it. And you can use it for a dressing. I can send that out. And the reason I have distilled water here is because when you're fasting or cleansing, distilled water helps the body detox better. But I don't drink it all the time. Distilled water is important for when you're cleansing, okay? Detox baths. You can make your own detox baths. I use a combination of Dead Sea salts, bentonite, baking soda, boron. That's a good start. And you should do a detox bath, a nice warm bath. Take care of yourself. Use a couple cups, cup and a half, mix it all together, put it in your bathtub and soak in some hot water a couple times a week and take care of yourself. It's important to love ourselves. Raw juice, amazing. I'm very proud of my new raw juice powder. It's incredible. It's not out yet, but I use it and my clients use it. Saunas are important, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a sauna. They have saunas now that you can just lay in that aren't that expensive. Biomat, it's a infrared crystal mat, which I love, and the benefits are just amazing. Besides stimulating cell communication and detoxification and creating deep sleep. And body movement. How are you going to move? The stretching was great today. I did it. I liked it. I love to swim. I'm stretching. You got to move. I know that if you don't move, and I know by my age, you're going to get stiff. So you have to do some kind of body movement. Stretching is important. Me and one of my friends, she's 4 years older than me, we started doing Tai Chi with a video. She comes over and we do Tai Chi. We just started that about 2 weeks ago. So movement is important, whether you're stretching, walking, biking. All right. So let's talk a little bit about sleep, because a toxic body really affects your sleep. And if you don't get into deep sleep, you can't regenerate the cells in your body. Okay. So the circadian rhythms, it's a series of physical, mental, and behavioral changes that affect our body if we're not sleeping the way we should. So your sleep-wake circadian rhythm is actually the internal clock that runs constantly. So it's actually cycling between alertness and sleepiness all night long. You may have heard of it, you may have not, but it has a sleep-wake cycle, and it helps regulate sleep patterns. Toxins affect our sleep patterns. All right. When you're falling asleep, it's kind of like a passive process, but there's a number of transmitters involved in falling asleep. So there's many things that are happening. There's many chemical and biochemical actions that happen while we're falling asleep, and how the neurotransmitters are involved. It regulates histamine, dopamine, serotonin, glutamate, and acetylalcohol. But that means that there are many psychological levers that you can use to help better night's sleep. So as you begin to get into a routine, you'll be able to enjoy the benefits of that better. But when you sleep better, I sleep a minimum of 9 hours a night, a minimum. Even if I don't need it, because I know what it's doing for my body. And I love sleeping. So it will help your concentration, your memory, and your moods. It will actually enhance your creativity and reduce inflammation and stress. And I do a class on stress that's amazing. All right. This is really important to know, that most people think if they have a glass of wine or a drink at night, it's going to help you sleep. It's not. It's the opposite. Alcohol is a depressant and a neurotoxin. And it means it slows down, which it means is it actually slows down the central nervous systems and its process, and it reduces the electrical conductivity in the brain. So this does not help you sleep. This means the neurons which send and receive the electrical signals that cause the release of neurotoxins operate more slowly, much more slowly. So in fact, if you spend the evening drinking and then went to sleep wearing a heart rate monitor, it would show significantly increased levels of stress for your body. So what you want to do, take a hot detox bath before bed, drink some warm almond milk. When I had my dear sister-in-law was over, hadn't seen her for a long time. She moved back to town, and I was making a sprouted buckwheat cereal that I made some cashew milk. And this is just another whole class, but when you're making nut milks, cashew milk, you don't have to strain it. She just said, "Oh my gosh, it looks like milk." And it does. So, and it's delicious. And I found, I don't know how many of you know that much about, but Aldi's, their cashews are the freshest I've ever had, even the ones I've ordered online. They're incredible. They're organic cashews, and they're cheaper. But anyway, try to take a hot bath before bed, and maybe every other night or twice a week, do the detox bath. So as your temperature rises, the hot bath and the cool down period immediately afterward, it relaxes you. You'll feel it. If you can take the time for yourself, and I think a lot of us are of the age that we have the time to take time for ourselves. So the best way to increase your magnesium levels, which helps you sleep, is through the skin. And you can try adding magnesium salts to your bath as well. Okay, so that'll decrease the cortisol levels, which relaxes you. For me, I like a really, really cold bedroom. I like my house cool, but I like to sleep under a blanket in a cool room. It's just been, before I even knew it was better, because it reduces your body's temperature and you can drift off better. So I'm hoping some of these things help you to relax more, and that some of this has helped. I could go on forever, but I don't want to go past my time. My website is ageless-energy.com. And the other one is livingsimplywraw.com, but they both direct to the same place. There's a lot of good information on there. Thank you, Moselle. Thank you, everybody.